The station hung like a jewel against the void, a monolith of chrome and obsidian orbiting the twin suns of Erinda. Commander Kael Rendar, a human raised among the stars, stared out at the glittering abyss. Every mission, every battle had led him here, but this moment felt different. There was a weight in the air, something ancient and almost sentient, waiting for him to act. "Kael, we're receiving a transmission," said Lyra, the station's AI companion, her voice resonant and calm. Unlike other AI constructs, she had been designed with a subtle personality, capable of making independent decisions in emergencies. "It's not a standard distress call. You'll want to hear this yourself." Kael stepped over to the console, his boots clicking softly against the metallic floor. The transmission began as a distorted hum, then formed words in a language long thought extinct. Yet somehow, Kael understood every syllable. "Heir of the ancients, the Seraphis awakens. Only the chosen may wield its legacy." Kael's breath caught. The Seraphis was a myth, a legend whispered in human colonies across the Outer Rim, an artifact of immense power, capable of bending stellar phenomena and rewriting the very laws of interspecies interaction. Whoever controlled it could heal worlds or destroy them. "You hear that too, don't you?" Lyra's tone carried an edge of concern. Kael nodded, rubbing the bridge of his nose. "I thought it was just stories. Now, I don't think it's a story anymore." The door hissed open and Rynn, a tall, sinewy alien with emerald skin and violet eyes, entered. She moved with a grace that suggested both predatory instincts and refined elegance. Her species, the Illyrians, were renowned for their diplomatic, acumen and psychic prowess. Rynn had been assigned to Kael as his liaison, but over the past months, their bond had grown into something deeper, subtle, but undeniable. "They've activated the beacon," she said softly, her voice like a breeze, "through alien forests, and it's responding to you." Kael swallowed hard. "Why me?" Rynn shrugged. "The ancients chose the human lineage. Something about your DNA. It resonates with the Seraphis." He ran a hand over his face. "Great. Just when I thought my life couldn't get stranger." Moments later, the station shuddered as external sensors lit up with multiple signatures. Unknown vessels, sleek and jagged, bore down on the orbit. Void Marauders pirates known for salvaging entire worlds and hunting artifacts of ancient origin. Kael's gut tightened. "They're here," he muttered. "Lyra, defensive protocols. Rynn, prep the neural interface." The station was old, built in the early years of human colonization, but it still had systems that could hold off an intruder long enough for Kael to act. Panels lit up as Lyra activated energy barriers and auto-defense drones. The void outside glimmered with weapon systems charging. Rynn approached Kael with a device strapped across her armor neural interface, designed to connect him directly to the Seraphis. "It's dangerous," she warned. "You'll feel everything it senses. Joy, fear, memory. If you can't maintain control, it could overwhelm your mind." Kael nodded, steeling himself. "I didn't come this far to run." As he slipped the device onto his temple, the station's lights dimmed, replaced by a projection of swirling stars and geometric patterns. The Seraphis' energy pulsed in response to his presence, almost like a heartbeat. He felt a surge of raw information, histories of civilizations long lost, ecological catastrophes averted, wars prevented, and at the center, a voice not spoken but known spoke directly to him. "I am Seraphis. I await the one who understands balance, not domination." Kael's head spun. Memories that weren't his flickered through his mind. The rise of human colonies, the creation of the Illyrian Alliance, even intimate moments he'd never experienced. The connection was overwhelming, but beneath it, a calm certainty settled in. This was the purpose of every choice he had ever made. Outside, the Marauders fired, their weapons streaking toward the station. Energy shields flared as Lyra's defense. Systems intercepted the assault, sending pulses that threw some ships off course. Yet there were too many and the station groaned under the sustained attacks. "Kael," Rynn called, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Focus. You can use Seraphis' energy to defend us, but it has to be precise. One misstep, everything here dies." He nodded, closing his eyes. Feeling the artifact's power through the neural interface, he extended his consciousness upward. Energy flowed like liquid light, wrapping around the station, reinforcing shields, redirecting the Marauder's fire, and creating barriers that seemed to pulse in rhythm with his thoughts. A ship broke through the outer defenses, targeting the central chamber where the Seraphis's beacon was embedded. Kael felt a pang of fear not for himself, but for Rynn and Lyra, who had trusted him to protect this legacy. With a thought, energy surged outward, drawing the intruding vessel into a gravitational eddy. It spun helplessly, disabled and drifted into the void. The immediate threat was held at bay, but Kael knew this was only the beginning. He removed the neural interface and stumbled back, panting. The room was silent except for the faint hum of Lyra recalibrating the systems. Rynn was beside him, concern etched into her face. "You did it," she breathed. "The Seraphis. It recognizes you." Kael looked down at the artifact, its surface shimmering with faint pulses of blue and gold. "I didn't do it alone. You and Lyra without your support, none of this would have been possible." Rynn's eyes softened. "You've awakened it, but the Marauders won't give up. They'll come back, stronger. And next time, they won't be so careless." He nodded. "Then we prepare, and we make sure the Seraphis chooses balance, not destruction, later." Kael stood at the observation deck, staring at the stars. Rynn joined him, silent at first, then spoke softly. "Do you ever wonder, why us? Why now?" Kael placed a hand over hers. "I think it's because we're capable of more than just survival. We can protect, build, and heal. That's what the ancients saw in humanity and maybe in the Alliance. With your people too." Rynn smiled faintly. "You make it sound so simple." "Nothing about this is simple," he admitted. "But maybe that's the point. If it were easy, anyone could do it. And anyone who could do it wouldn't understand its value." Above them, the twin suns began their slow descent, casting golden streaks across the chrome hull. For the first time in weeks, Kael allowed himself a moment of calm. The war for the Seraphis had begun, but they had a chance, and with Rynn at his side, he felt against the vast indifference of the universe that they could face anything. The artifact pulsed, faintly in the distance, as if acknowledging his thought. Kael knew the road ahead would be perilous. Political intrigue, interstellar skirmishes, and the insidious plots of the Void Marauders awaited. But he also knew that the Seraphis had chosen him, for a reason. He would not betray their trust. Turning to Rynn, he smiled, a mixture of exhaustion and determination shining in his eyes. "Come on," he said. "We have work to do and maybe a little time to learn what it really means to wield this power." She laughed softly, a sound that cut through the tension like sunlight. "Lead the way, Commander. I'll follow." Together, they watched as the stars shifted and danced beyond the viewport, a universe full of danger, mystery, and infinite possibilities. The awakening had begun, and so had their journey. The Starward Beacon drifted through the Rendar system, its surface scarred from centuries of meteor strikes and long-abandoned defense drills. Inside, Commander Kael Rendar paced the command deck, Rynn at his side. Both were acutely aware that the Void Marauders would not forget the humiliation of their failed assault. Their next encounter would be more coordinated, deadlier, and personal. Lyra's voice cut through the tension. Sensors detect multiple energy signatures approaching from the nebulae, surrounding Rendar's outer belt. Her tone was calm, but carried an undertone of urgency. "This is no ordinary fleet. The Marauders have allied with mercenary vessels, ex-military, highly trained." Kael pressed his hand to the console, feeling the faint hum of the Seraphis pulsing beneath his fingers. "I need to know if the artifact itself can give us a tactical advantage," he said, his eyes narrowing. "Can we use it to manipulate gravitational fields or shield the station? The Seraphis responds to your presence and intent." "Commander," Lyra replied, "it can create localized distortions, but these effects require focus and synchronization. Your connection with it must be strong, uninterrupted, and deliberate." Rynn leaned closer. "You'll need me to maintain your psychic anchor. Without me, The artifact's energy could overwhelm you, or worse, misalign and cause catastrophic damage. Kael nodded. Then let's do it. We don't have the luxury of waiting. As they prepared, Lyra began activating the station's older but still functional systems plasma turrets, energy barriers and kinetic field projectors. The station's walls glimmered faintly as the systems interfaced with the latent energy of the Seraphis, creating a shimmering lattice of protective energy. Kael felt the artifact's awareness like a vast, slumbering mind stirring, curious and cautious. Steady, Rynn whispered, placing a hand against his temple. Breathe. Focus on me, not the chaos outside. The void outside was alive with movement. The approaching fleet twisted through the star field, sleek hulls reflecting nebula light, energy signatures bristling. Kael inhaled, feeling the Seraphis respond to his mental command. The first wave of ships decelerated suddenly, caught in a gravitational eddy that wasn't there moments before. Lyra's monitors flickered. They're adapting. Their pilots are compensating for the distortions. If we don't act fast, then we escalate, Kael said. His voice was steady, but adrenaline coursed through him. He extended his consciousness into the artifact, feeling its massive potential. Stars bent subtly, as if acknowledging his intent, as if the universe itself had paused to watch. A single thought, crystal clear. Protect. Do not harm unless necessary. Show strength, not recklessness. Energy rippled from the Starward Beacon, a wave that reached into the void. Marauder vessels wavered, systems misfiring, weapons looping in irregular arcs. For a moment, the fleet was frozen, caught in a tide of alien forces they could neither predict nor control. Kael, Rynn's voice carried worry. It's powerful, but it's also alive. If you push too far, it may resist you. He smiled faintly, sweat beading on his forehead. I know, but if we hesitate, they'll destroy everything here. The neural interface flashed red. A pulse of psychic energy shot through Kael's mind, stronger than before. Memories, emotions, and the weight of millennia threatened to drown him. He clenched his teeth, focusing on Rynn's presence on the anchor she provided. Slowly, the chaos coalesced into clarity, a symphony of energy bending to his will. Outside, the Marauder flagship hesitated. Its captain, a gaunt human with cybernetic implants and an unnerving comm, scanned the disruption. What is this? He muttered, rage and disbelief in his voice. The fleet could not fire, could not maneuver. Every action was subtly countered by an unseen force. Kael allowed himself a sliver of satisfaction. It's not a weapon, he murmured. It's perspective. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time had become irrelevant. The artifact pulsed in rhythm with Kael's heartbeat. Ships that had threatened annihilation now hovered helplessly, not destroyed, but immobilized, forced into stillness. Lyra monitored systems, keeping the station intact, while Rynn whispered words of encouragement, keeping Kael tethered to reality. Then came the anomaly. A smaller vessel, sleek and angular, detached from the fleet. Its energy signature pulsed differently, almost alive. Kael felt it immediately. A Void Walker probe, designed not to attack but to extract knowledge. The artifact responded, shivering. Under its presence, they want information, Kael said. They're trying to communicate with the Seraphis, or worse, bypass it. Rynn placed both hands on his shoulders. You need to sever the connection for a moment. Too much interference, and you'll collapse under the strain. Kael hesitated. Severing the connection meant giving up the advantage, exposing the station. But the alternative was worse. With a deep breath, he wrenched his consciousness back, the psychic tether snapping, leaving the Starward Beacon humming faintly in his absence. The probe hesitated, sensing the temporary withdrawal of influence. Then it accelerated toward the station. Kael lunged to the turret console, guiding a plasma barrage that intersected perfectly with Lyra's automated intercept algorithms. The probe disintegrated in a burst of light, leaving a faint pulse in the ether, warning, or a message he could not yet interpret. Panting, Kael sank into the nearest chair. Rynn knelt beside him, her violet eyes studying him with a mixture of relief and concern. You pushed yourself too far. The artifact responded to your fear, your doubt. You must learn to remain calm, even under pressure. Kael managed a tired smile. I think I'm getting the hang of it. Don't joke, Rynn said sharply, though the corners of her mouth betrayed a hint of amusement. We're not through this. They'll regroup and next time, Kael finished. We won't just defend. We'll take the fight to them. Lyra's voice cut in, precise and mechanical. Incoming transmission. Commander. It's from the Illyrian Council. Kael's eyes narrowed. Show me. A holographic projection filled the command deck. Council's emissary, a tall Illyrian named Vaylor, regarded him solemnly. Kael Rendar, your actions have not gone unnoticed. The artifact responds to your lineage, yes, but also to your integrity and judgment. The Void Marauders are only the beginning. Forces long dormant are stirring, and your handling of the Seraphis will shape the fate of countless worlds. Kael swallowed. And the humans, the colonies, the alliances, what role do we play? Vaylor's expression softened. You are a bridge, Kael, not only between species, but between the past and the future. Protect what is right, even when wrong. Seems easier. The artifact has chosen, but the universe watches you refine that choice. The transmission ended, leaving silence in its wake. Kael rubbed his temples, overwhelmed by the responsibility pressing on his shoulders. He looked at Rynn, who offered a reassuring hand. We'll figure it out, she said. Together, outside, the fleet of marauders lingered at the edge of sensor range. They would not give up, but for now, the Starward Beacon stood, a silent sentinel of ancient power. The artifact's hum resonated through the station, a reminder of what had been awakened and what still awaited. Kael leaned back, gazing out at the stars. The Seraphis, it's more than power. It's a responsibility, and I'm starting to understand what that means. Rynn's hand found his, squeezing gently. And you're not alone in this. Remember that. Commander, the universe may be vast and indifferent, but we together can make a difference. The twin suns of Rendar dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow across the Starward Beacon. For the first time since the awakening, Kael allowed himself a moment to breathe, to plan, and to prepare. The road ahead would be fraught with danger, deception, and unimaginable tests, but he knew one thing with certainty. The Seraphis had chosen him, and he would honor that choice, no matter the cost. The Starward Beacon glided through the violet haze of the Solara Nebula, its hull shimmering against the luminescent gas clouds. Inside, Commander Kael Rendar's mind was still buzzing. From the Illyrian Council's warning, the Seraphis artifacts, awakening had drawn attention far beyond the Void Marauders. Somewhere out there, ancient watchers stirred, sensing the activation of something they had long awaited. Rynn monitored the external feeds, her violet eyes scanning the stars with unwavering focus. Sensors detect a spatial anomaly ahead. She reported, it's subtle like a ripple in the very fabric of the nebula. But it's moving, and it's aware. Kael leaned over the console, his fingers brushing against the artifact-linked interface. The Seraphis pulsed faintly, acknowledging the anomaly with a soft vibration that resonated through his core. Show me, he whispered, feeling the artifacts, awareness intertwining with his own. The display shifted, revealing a cluster of glowing orbs orbiting an invisible point in space. Energy readings were unlike anything Kael had encountered, old, primal, and yet intelligent. It's listening, he said. It knows we're here, and it's responding to the Seraphis. Lyra's voice broke the tension. Commander, these readings are unprecedented. If this is some form of ancient construct, it could be more powerful than anything in the Council's archives. We should proceed cautiously. Kael nodded, though caution was a luxury they could ill afford. Rynn, stay close. I'll interface with the artifact and see if it can guide us safely through this. The neural tether pulsed as Kael extended his consciousness into the Seraphis. Pain prickled at the edges of his mind, memories of ages long past brushing against his thoughts. Visions flickered, civilizations rising and falling, starships navigating fields of cosmic energy, beings not unlike themselves reaching for understanding, only to vanish in flashes of brilliance. It's showing me its history, Kael murmured, gripping Rynn's arm. The Seraphis has existed for millennia, guiding civilizations, correcting courses, nudging species toward survival. And now, it's chosen us to continue its purpose. Rynn's hand pressed reassuringly against his shoulder. Keep your focus, Kael. You're seeing eons of events at once. Don't let it overwhelm you. He drew a deep breath, centering himself. The anomaly in the nebula pulsed again, and he realized it wasn't just observing they were communicating. Kael transmitted a mental query, the Seraphis amplifying his intent. Who are you? What do you want? A wave of sensation washed over him, warmth, understanding, and an unmistakable intelligence. We are the ancients, the presence whispered directly into his mind, guardians of the patterns that bind the stars. You have awakened the Seraphis, and in doing so, you have proven your worth. But beware, the void marauders are merely the first trial. Others will come, drawn by the artifact's resonance. Kael exhaled slowly, his mind still tingling from the direct mental contact. Rynn, he said, this is bigger than we imagined. The artifact, it's part of a network, and there are forces out there older than the Council watching. Lyra's console beeped, drawing their attention. Commander, multiple contacts, appearing at the edge of the nebula. Unknown design. No identifiable markings. Energy signatures are advanced beyond even Illyrian technology. Kael's jaw tightened. The test continues, he muttered. Prepare for contact. Moments later, a vessel emerged from the nebula's glow. Its surface was smooth and iridescent, reflecting the nebula's light in impossible patterns. The ship moved not as a human or Illyrian craft would, but as though it flowed with intent, shifting form to navigate the currents of energy around it. The voice of the anomaly filled Kael's mind, calm and deliberate. Fear not, traveler. We do not wish to harm you, but to guide. Rynn's eyes widened. It's speaking, telepathically, or through the Seraphis? Kael shook his head. Both, I think. It's ancient technology, but sentient. It recognizes us through the Seraphis link. The vessel extended a series of glowing filaments into the nebula, creating a corridor of shimmering light. Kael sensed an invitation. Follow. Learn. Prepare. We have a choice, Lyra said softly. Do we go? Or do we stay put and risk the marauders catching up? Kael's mind raced. They could retreat, avoid the unknown. But the artifact's energy pulsed insistently, urging them onward. This is the path. This is what we were chosen for. We follow. Kael decided, his voice firm. But carefully, the Seraphis will guide. US and Rynn stay anchored. I won't risk losing control again. The Starward Beacon shifted, aligning with the corridor of light. Energy rippled along its hull as the artifact resonated in perfect harmony with the path laid out. Before them, stars bent slightly, cosmic currents redirecting to create a safe passage through the nebula. As they traveled, Kael continued to experience fragments of the ancients' memories. Worlds healed from near extinction, alliances forged between species that had once warred for centuries, and civilizations taught to harness energy without destroying it. Each vision was accompanied by an emotional weight, hope, sorrow, triumph, and loss like echoes from a distant, forgotten age. Rynn's voice brought him back to the present. Commander, incoming transmission from the marauders. They've tracked us through the nebula's outer currents. They're requesting parley or perhaps a trap. Kael frowned. Let them try. The artifact is with us now. They underestimate what it can do and what we can do through it. The marauder vessel appeared alongside them, sleek and angular, its pilot clearly attempting to communicate through conventional hails. Kael ignored the message, focusing instead on the corridor of light, feeling the Seraphis' steady pulse in tandem with his own heartbeat. Suddenly, the corridor flared, a blinding wave of energy washing over the Starward Beacon. Kael clutched, the console as visions of the ancients surged forward. You must understand, the presence whispered. Knowledge alone is not enough. To wield the power of the Seraphis, you must understand responsibility, balance, and restraint. The marauder ship faltered, caught in a gravitational eddy manipulated subtly by the artifact. Weapons misfired, propulsion systems stuttered, and, for the first time, Kael saw fear in their precise, calculating movements. Lyra exhaled, her hands dancing over her console. They're paralyzed, but not destroyed. Commander, they're still sentient. The Seraphis is restraining them. Kael nodded, understanding. This was not about conquest or retaliation. It was about demonstrating capability and judgment. They will learn without being destroyed, he thought. They will understand the strength of restraint. Hours or perhaps an eternity passed as they navigated the corridor. The nebula's colors shifted, reflecting moods Kael could feel rather than see. Curiosity, caution, approval. The presence of the ancients grew stronger, a comforting weight that guided him. Finally, the corridor opened into a massive expanse, a hidden sector of the nebula, a cradle of ancient constructs, silent but alive with energy. Kael's heart pounded. Here was knowledge and technology lost to the galaxy, waiting for those worthy to discover it. The Seraphis pulsed with approval. You have arrived. You are ready. Rynn placed a steadying hand on his arm. We made it, she said softly. And we're still alive? Kael exhaled, the weight of the journey settling on his shoulders. Alive, yes. But this is just the beginning. The marauders, the artifact, the ancients, they're all part of a larger pattern. And I think we're being prepared for something far greater than a simple battle. Lyra's eyes scanned the readings. This area is untouched by time. Energy patterns suggest continuous activity for millennia. Whatever secrets lie here, they could change everything we know about the galaxy. Kael's mind swirled with possibilities, but one certainty anchored him. The Seraphis chose me, and I will honor that choice, no matter the cost. The Starward Beacon hovered at the threshold, ready to explore the ancient sector. Kael, Rynn, and Lyra shared a brief, meaningful glance. They were not just a crew, they were custodians of a legacy, older than any civilization in the galaxy. And somewhere in the distance, the marauder fleet regrouped, unaware that they had been outmaneuvered, outhauled, and outmatched not by sheer firepower, but by understanding, responsibility, and the quiet, immeasurable strength of those who sought not domination, but harmony. Kael turned to the viewports, watching the energy of the ancient constructs pulse gently in the nebula's glow. Let's see what secrets they're willing to share, he said, his voice steady, determined. Rynn nodded. And let's hope we're ready for them. The artifact thrummed in response, a gentle but persistent reminder that their journey had only just begun. Beyond the veil of stars and nebulae, the echoes of the ancients awaited, watching, guiding, and testing the resolve of those chosen to carry the galaxy forward. The Starward Beacon drifted cautiously through the heart of the ancient sector, the nebula's luminescent gases bathing its hull in violet and sapphire hues. Commander Kael Rendar's hands hovered over the console, attuned to the Seraphis' subtle hum that had become a second heartbeat. Each pulse from the artifact echoed with awareness, guiding them toward something unseen yet unmistakably present. Rynn's violet eyes scanned the readings relentlessly. Commander, the energy signatures here, they're not just technological, they feel alive. Like the constructs themselves are conscious. Kael nodded, his mind already in sync with the Seraphis. They are alive, Rynn, not in the way we understand life, but in a way that predates it. They think, perceive, and perhaps judge. Lyra adjusted the navigational ray, tracing the pathways of energy that threaded through the sector like veins of light. The structures here massive. Circular arrays of unknown material are aligned with the stars themselves. Some kind of stellar interface, perhaps. Kael's gaze swept the expanse before them. The constructs shimmered in patterns beyond comprehension. Concentric rings of polished obsidian-like surfaces interwoven with radiant crystal filaments. Each structure emitted faint harmonics, a resonance that vibrated through the Starward Beacon's hull. He could feel it in his bones, a tugging of consciousness, coaxing him forward. Prepare for a landing attempt, Kael ordered. We need to interface directly with one of these constructs. The artifact will guide us, but I need to understand what the ancients want us to see. Rynn activated the deployable energy stabilizers, creating a protective bubble around the Starward Beacon as it maneuvered toward the largest constructor towering monolith that seemed to stretch endlessly into the nebula's glow. As they approached, the artifact pulsed more insistently, a sensation Kael now recognized as anticipation. The landing bay was unconventional. It wasn't a bay at all, but a series of gravitational locks that aligned the ship perfectly with the construct's interface nodes. The Starward Beacon shivered as the gravitational locks engaged, holding it in place without contact, a testament to technology older than any human or Illyrian starship. Lyra's fingers danced over the controls, her brow furrowed. The docking sequence is alive. Commander, it's responding to our intentions, not commands. Kael extended his consciousness through the Seraphis, reaching out to the monolith. The connection was immediate and overwhelming. Streams of memory, calculation, and emotion poured into him. The construct was not merely a machine, it was a repository of wisdom, a living library of civilizations that had risen and fallen before the current age of the galaxy. Kael, Rynn's voice trembled slightly. It's communicating, not through words, but through feeling, and it's vast. You're reaching into something infinite. Kael inhaled, centering himself. We are ready. He projected mentally through the artifact. Show us your purpose. The monolith shimmered, its surfaces refracting light into infinite fractals that cascaded through the nebula. You seek knowledge, human, and you seek responsibility. Both are entwined. Do you understand the burden you carry? Kael swallowed. We understand. The Seraphis chose us because we are capable of understanding. The monolith pulsed, revealing visions in Kael's mind. Star systems healed from disease, entire species guided from brink of annihilation, conflicts resolved without, warfare and energy harnessed for creation rather than destruction. Each vision left a deep impression, a teaching of balance and restraint. Lyra and Rynn watched Kael closely, feeling the artifact's influence radiate through the ship. Commander, the Seraphis interface is pulling information at an unprecedented rate, Lyra warned. We've never had a neural link this intense before. Are you sure you can handle it? Kael's gaze was distant, but his voice remained steady. I have to. The ancients are showing me the responsibility tied to this power. If we fail, it won't just be our lives, it could destabilize entire sectors, and I won't let that happen. Hours or perhaps days seemed to pass as Kael absorbed the construct's knowledge. The Starward Beacon floated in the gravity-neutral interface, untouched by time. As the constructs revealed their purpose, they were not weapons, not monuments, but guides. Each monolith, each crystal filament, each harmonic pulse was designed to shepherd civilizations toward harmony, teaching restraint, understanding, and foresight. Suddenly, the Starward Beacon shook. Sensors screamed, incoming fleet. Rynn shouted. Multiple vessels, all armed and coordinated. They've tracked us here. Kael's heart sank momentarily. The Marauders, along with unknown allies, had followed them into the heart of the nebula. But the artifact pulsed in reassurance, the Seraphis' awareness now a shield of understanding and intent. Prepare defensive protocols, Kael ordered, his mind splitting between the interface and the immediate threat. But remember, the Seraphis will guide us. We don't destroy unless necessary. Focus on restraint. The attacking fleet emerged. From the nebula's outer layers, sleek vessels bristling with weapons. The Marauders' confidence faltered when their energy projections failed to align with the Starward Beacon's hull. The constructs had intervened, manipulating energy currents to neutralize the attackers without harm. Kael felt the Seraphis amplify this restraint, reinforcing a protective cocoon around the ship. This is incredible, Lyra breathed. They're frozen in stasis, yet unharmed. The artifact is controlling the battlefield without firing a single weapon. Kael exhaled slowly, maintaining his focus. We are not conquerors. We are stewards, he projected through the Seraphis. Learn the meaning of guidance and restraint. The fleet's leaders hesitated, confusion spreading as their weapons failed to respond. Through the artifact, Kael transmitted the intent of the ancients, knowledge, responsibility, and the capacity for both creation and destruction were intertwined. The vessel's crews, highly trained and conditioned for aggression, experienced a sudden clarity of vision of consequence and choice. "Commander," Rynn's voice was awed. "They're understanding. Not defeated, just shown another way." Kael nodded, sweat beading on his forehead. The Seraphis thrummed with approval. "You have demonstrated comprehension of the responsibility. You have passed the first trial in the heart of the Ancients' domain. As the fleet withdrew, their systems restored but their aggression tempered, Kael felt a new weight settle on his shoulders. They had not just survived, they had mediated, guided, and taught. This was more than survival. It was leadership on a cosmic scale. Lyra exhaled, a smile breaking across her face. "We did it, not just for ourselves, but for them." Rynn nodded, her eyes reflecting the nebula's colors. "And for the galaxy. The knowledge here, it could reshape entire civilizations if used wisely." Kael looked out into the expanse of ancient constructs, a quiet determination settling over him. "The Seraphis chose us because we are capable of this, but there is more to learn, more responsibility to bear." The monolith pulsed one final time, a wave of harmonic energy that resonated through the Starward Beacon. "Proceed with caution. Proceed with understanding. The next phase awaits, where choice will test your moral and intellectual resolve. You will encounter civilizations that have not yet learned the ways of restraint. Your decisions will echo across the stars." Kael's hands rested lightly on the console. "Then we prepare, not just for battle, but for guidance, for stewardship. The galaxy is watching, and so are the Ancients." Lyra and Rynn exchanged a glance. Understanding the enormity of what lay ahead, the nebula stretched endlessly before them, filled with secrets older than time, waiting to be unveiled. Kael turned to his crew, a quiet confidence settling in his voice. "We are ready. The Starward Beacon is more than a ship now, it is a conduit for knowledge, responsibility, and unity. We will meet the challenges ahead not as conquerors, but as stewards of what the Ancients have entrusted to us." Rynn placed a hand on his shoulder, and Lyra's fingers brushed the console with reverence. The Starward Beacon glided forward, leaving behind the corridor of light, moving deeper into the heart of the nebula, toward the next trial that would test not only their skills, but the very essence of their humanity. And far beyond, in the silent watches of the void, forces older than thought, drawn by the awakening of the Seraphis, began to stir. They would test Kael and his crew in ways no human or Illyrian mind could fully anticipate. But Kael did not falter. He was the chosen link between past and future, human and alien, creation and restraint. The journey had only just begun. The Starward Beacon surged forward, leaving the dense nebula behind and entering an uncharted sector where stars burned brighter than anywhere in known space. Commander Kael Rendar stood at the observation deck, arms crossed, his gaze fixed on the horizon. The Seraphis thrummed under the hull, a living presence that resonated with anticipation. Every pulse of energy from the artifact seemed to echo through his own consciousness, a reminder that the galaxy was no longer simply a map of planets and factions. It was alive, aware, and waiting for their choices. Lyra approached quietly, her fingers brushing against Kael's arm. "We've reached the coordinates," she said softly, pointing toward a cluster of stars forming an almost perfect triangle. "The artifact's energy signature is strongest there." Kael nodded. "And yet, this sector is different. There's something watching us." He paused, reaching out mentally through the Seraphis. The artifact responded immediately, sending ripples of recognition through his mind. There was intelligence here, yes, but cautious, reserved, older than anything he had encountered. It was aware of them, studying them as much as they were studying it. Rynn joined them, her eyes wide with a mixture of awe and tension. "We're not just entering another trial," she said. "This is a civilization waiting to test us. I can feel it. Not hostility, but scrutiny. They're measuring our intent." Kael exhaled. "Then we meet them on their terms. We show understanding, not force. That is the lesson of the Seraphis. The beacon sensors picked up massive structures, orbiting a small, luminescent planet at the triangle's center. Unlike any conventional station, these formations appeared fluid, shifting and pulsating as if breathing. Energy arcs connected the structures, forming a lattice of light that stretched from the surface into orbit and beyond. The artifacts pulse synchronized with the structures, guiding Kael toward a singular point, a massive bridge spanning the lattice, leading to a towering monolith on the planet's surface. Lyra frowned. The bridge, it's unstable, its energy fields are fluctuating. We can cross, but only if we move in sync with the artifact's pulse. Kael's jaw tightened. Then we trust the Seraphis. Helm, align the beacon with the bridge's energy pattern. We proceed. As they approached, the bridge shimmered into focus, energy waves rippling under the Starward Beacon's hull. The connection with the artifact deepened, pulling Kael and his crew into a state of heightened awareness. Through the Seraphis, he could feel the bridge respond to their intent, bending and stabilizing to accommodate their passage. Yet he sensed a trial invisible pressure, a test of resolve and integrity, pressing against their consciousness. Brace yourselves, Kael warned. The bridge stretched endlessly ahead, its crystalline lattice refracting the light of nearby stars. The Starward Beacon glided forward, every movement synchronized with the pulse of the artifact. It was a dance of mind and machine, thought and energy, requiring total focus. One misstep could shatter the connection and send them plummeting into the void. Hours passed, or perhaps mere moments, as they traversed the bridge. Kael's consciousness expanded, taking in the lattice, patterns, the flow of energy between structures, and the subtle intelligence guiding it. The artifact whispered of civilizations lost to arrogance, of alliances broken by fear, and of the potential for unity when understanding triumphed over domination. Finally, the monolith came into view, a towering structure of black crystalline material, pulsating with soft light. Its surfaces shimmered with fractal patterns, reflecting the infinite stars above. Kael felt the artifact thrumming in resonance with it, as if greeting a long-lost sibling. Prepare for landing, he ordered. We step onto the surface with respect, not conquest. The Starward Beacon descended, energy tendrils gently supporting it until it settled on the monolith's platform. As the crew disembarked, the air or its approximation vibrated with anticipation. Kael, Lyra, and Rynn approached the entrance, where 3 circular depressions awaited, each radiating faint energy that matched the Seraphis' pulse. Kael held up his father's ring, feeling its warmth against his palm. Lyra carried her own pendant, a relic of trust and unity forged through their journey. Rynn's hand rested on the Starward Beacon's hull, feeling the residual energy of the Seraphis. Together, they stepped forward. Kael placed the ring in the first depression, feeling a surge of energy ripple through him. Lyra set her pendant in the second, its light blending seamlessly with the ring. The third depression, Kael realized, was meant for their collective intent, their unified purpose. He reached out, guiding Rynn's hand to touch the surface, and instantly, a wave of consciousness enveloped them. The monolith awakened. Light cascaded outward in geometric patterns, expanding into the lattice network and across the planet. Kael felt the artifact's intelligence merge with the monolith and then with the lattice itself. For the first time, he perceived a civilization that had constructed this web, not humans, not Illyrians, but beings of pure thought and energy, ancient architects who had transcended physical form. They were the custodians of balance, teachers of restraint and harmony across galaxies. You have proven your comprehension. A resonant voice echoed in Kael's mind, not through conquest, but through understanding. Not by coercion, but through empathy. You are worthy stewards. The lattice pulsed, extending beams of energy outward, connecting nearby star systems. Kael understood immediately. The monolith and its network were not weapons. They were a bridge, a channel for unity, communication, and growth. Any species reaching this point would be able to access knowledge, guidance, and cooperation if they approached with respect. Commander, Lyra's voice trembled. It's alive, not hostile, but aware. It trusts us. Kael nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. And we must honor that trust. Every decision we make now echoes across this network. We are not rulers, we are guides. Suddenly, the Marauder fleet reappeared, attempting to breach the lattice with weapons raised. Kael felt a surge of energy from the monolith. The artifact responded not with destruction, but with clarity. The Marauder's vessels froze mid-attack, systems overridden by the lattice's intelligence. Kael projected intent through the Seraphis. Observe, understand, choose a better path. The Marauder crews experienced visions of consequence, of unity over aggression. Their weapons powered down, not because of force, but because they comprehended the truth of what the lattice represented. Kael exhaled, feeling a sense of relief unlike any victory he had ever known. Not destroyed, not defeated, enlightened. Rynn whispered, "They're learning restraint." Kael allowed himself a small smile. That is our victory. Not domination, but understanding. That is the HFY principle, the capacity to rise above instinct and conquer through intellect, empathy, and cooperation. As the lattice network stabilized, Kael sensed an invitation. The monolith's core opened, revealing a chamber filled with soft, pulsating light. At its center floated a sphere of condensed energy, the heart of the civilization's wisdom. Kael stepped forward, the Seraphis guiding him. He touched the sphere, feeling a connection unlike any he had experienced. Knowledge flowed through him not as data, but as insight, strategic, moral, philosophical. "This is your legacy," the voice echoed. "Guide the galaxy, protect the balance, teach restraint, and in doing so, honor all who came before you." Kael turned to Lyra and Rynn, their faces reflecting awe and understanding. "We have a responsibility greater than any fleet, any nation, any empire," he said. "The galaxy will test us again and again. But now we know we are not alone. The ancients have given us guidance, and together we will build a future worthy of it." The trio returned to the Starward Beacon, the monolith's energy flowing into the ship, enhancing the Seraphis, strengthening their minds, and linking them indelibly to the network. The lattice extended across the planet, a beacon for others, to come not as conquerors, but as learners and guides. As they departed, Kael looked back at the monolith, its light pulsing like a heartbeat. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The bridge is complete, but the journey never ends. We will carry this knowledge, protect it, and share it responsibly. Humanity and Illyrians have proven themselves capable. Now, the galaxy watches." Lyra rested her hand on his shoulder. "And we face it together." Kael nodded, a firm smile spreading across his face. Together, always together. The Starward Beacon soared into the stars, carrying the legacy of humanity's resilience, empathy, and ingenuity. The lattice pulsed in quiet acknowledgement, a network now awake to a new era of interstellar stewardship. And as they moved through the void, the artifact and the monolith remained a guiding presence, a bridge between worlds, a testament to what could be achieved when intelligence, compassion, and courage were united across species and civilizations. Galaxy was watching, and for the first time in millennia, it saw hope.